Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. Really excited for today's video. The beer is courtesy of Ross. Thanks so much, Ross. I really appreciate it. He and I got talking, was it yesterday or the day before? And I guess they're already starting to release this year's, like the new batch of Revolution Barrel Aged beer. So I'm like, oh, I have a bunch to still drink, so I should get on that. And the reason I picked Ryeway to Heaven is because Chuck Boswell, in my last Thursday video, Desert Island Beers, he picked this as one of them. So I'm like, well, of the ones I have, it kind of seems appropriate to do this one. So Ryeway to Heaven, it's a rye ale aged in rye barrel, so a lot of rye. It was canned December 6, 2021. It is middle of July, 2022. Bourbon and rye barrels work together in harmony to breathe life into our rye wine. This unforgettable ale is brewed with over 60% rye, yielding entirely unique malt and barrel-derived complexities. Enjoy an ample body that suggests sweetness, but still finishes smooth and dry. Enjoy now or store cold. It's been stored pretty cold, relatively cold. Cold for the last couple of weeks, because I did actually have it in a beer fridge. I was like slowly moving them forward as I was drinking these Revolutions. I don't know if it might be on camera. And anyway, no one cares about that. No one cares about the process of you taking beers off the shelf and putting them into the beer fridge. The beer refrigerator. Words. Speak them correctly when you can. I got a bunch of stuff to still do. I typically drink beer when I'm done doing everything, but I still have stuff to do. So pour a little bit and keep sipping on it as I do the rest of my stuff. So brown with a lot of red in there, dark tan, khaki-ish kind of head, not a lot of head. I am seeing a lot of legs though, Oh, actually, what is the ABV on this? It's gotta be like 14, 15, right? I think it's 15.0. I don't think that's an 8. I think it's 15.0. But yeah, it does look kind of like a barley wine, old ale, but yeah, with a good amount of red in there. But anyway, let's get to the aroma. That smells good. Wow. You do get a little bit of that like rye spiciness, good level of sweetness, big caramel, dates, all that stuff for sure. Some brown sugar. Like a sweetened molasses, almost like a molasses cookie. Butterscotch. I haven't gotten butterscotch specifically in anything in a while. Yeah, it's nice. So it's a lot of those like caramelized sugar kind of notes. Not surprising, but there's a little bit of a prickly spiciness from the rye. Ooh, yeah, a little bit of vanilla mixing with a caramel, almost kind of like a cowtail. That is, this is a really nice aroma. Let's see about the taste. Cheers. Thanks again, Ross. Ooh, wow. I am so glad I picked up butterscotch in the aroma, because man, is it in the taste. Wow. And before I got the butterscotch, there's a lot of stuff going on in this beer. I'm just focusing on two things right now: caramel and butterscotch. I have said notes of caramel in lots of beers well before I ever started the channel, certainly on the channel, beers I've had off camera while doing the channel. I get caramel in lots of big beers like this, sometimes big stouts, barrel aged or not, whatever. This might be the most real caramel taste, at least that I can remember. And so I'm like hanging on that note, like, whoa, that's impressive how like straight up real caramel that is. And then like a 2x4 to the face, it's old school. I mean, I say old school because I probably haven't had it since I was a kid. Butterscotch pudding. Wow, and that's just like one thread of this beer. Wow, that rye is so nice in this. I think the rye, because there are all these again, like the aroma, sweet, caramelized sugar kind of notes, sweet fruits like things like dates, some fig maybe. I'd have to go back for the fig, but definitely date. That little like prickly spiciness from the rye, a little bit of balance there, which is nice. The alcohol, although not really on the palate, but enough that also again bringing balance. Little like oaky woodiness, bringing balance to all that sweetness. Wow. When there are warm notes, you get like the spirit, and it's rye and bourbon. But like, okay, yeah, that's on the can, like, but you get it, which is nice and worth noting. But the thing I'm getting to is, in some of those warm moments of the alcohol, there's this really nice pine needle, like very specifically, not just like, oh, these hops are making me think kind of like a pine note. No, like you brewed the beer with pine needles. It's a very subtle note, but like again, when like the alcohol itself is like kind of fighting through, that's something I get with it. Really interesting, adding some complexity and works. Like I don't want to like go outside and get a bunch of pine needles and pour caramel syrup on them and eat that, but somehow it's working. It's really cool. And maybe it is like the hops that are in this beer that are bringing that out at all. I don't know. But like, I'm tasting it. It's there. It's there for me anyway. Yeah, it's kind of like, I want to say boozy caramel and butterscotch, but again, it's making it sound like it tastes and smells more boozy than it actually does. But like, it's a big beer. Don't get me wrong. And then it's a very sweet, rye breadiness. Less molasses than I thought on the taste based on what I got in the aroma. Not that there was a ton, but I thought it'd be a little bit more in taste. But I'm not mad at that. I'm just like racking my brain, like, what are some other caramelized sugar things, and are they in this? You do get a little bit of that vanilla. I mean, very, very little. So it's not too cowtaily in the taste, like I was mentioning in the aroma. We do get a little bit from the barrel aging, which is nice. Little bit of the oak tannins. But man, the way it's the way the spirits come through, besides the rye, a little bit of maybe the rye spiciness also coming from that part. It's like a reduction, like if you're making caramel sauce but you put like a shot of whiskey or bourbon in it as you're like making it, so like the alcohol cooks out but there's still like that taste, and then it's like perfectly working with and melding with the caramel sauce you're making. It really has like that thing in beer form. It's really good. I know I've said rye a bunch. I would even take a little bit more rye specific taste in this beer. I don't even think that's really a criticism because it drinks so good as is. And it does, like, it's Ryeway to heaven, like it's promising you rye. Don't get me wrong, you get it, but I take a little bit more if I'm being honest. But man, this beer's really good. A little bit of brown sugar, which is nice. Yeah, this is really, they know how to even like a beer that, like, even in this series, where they're barrel aging, even like one of their stuff that's like one of theirs that's not as good as the other ones is usually still really, 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 really good, and they should be proud of it. And if another brewery brewed one that good, they should be really proud of it. But yeah, this is delicious. Thanks again, Ross. I really appreciate it. Have you guys had this beer before? Have you had a nice rye ale lately, let alone something as big as this, but just rye in beer at all? I used to see more rye, like pale ales and IPAs. I haven't seen one in a while, like a rye PA they would call them. Have you seen one of those lately? Anything, everything, comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. Once you're done doing that, make sure you check me out on Instagram and Untapped. It's No Hype Beer Reviews at both those places. So always please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.